Right, so we're back for like our supersized year-end deep dive.
Always a fun one.
Yeah. This time, we're going to, go beyond just like the day-to-day headlines. We're looking at the big AI trends of 2024.
Big picture stuff.
Yeah, and what those might mean for, you listening.
Right.
And as usual, our trusty guide for this journey is Andrew Ng's The Batch newsletter.
He always has a great year-end wrap-up.
Oh, he goes deep. Like this year, it's like he really took a step back and said, like, okay, what really changed the game?
Yeah, he definitely zoomed out to give us, like, the big picture. And I think one of the most striking things, at least for me, was just how agentic AI is becoming.
Yeah, agentic is everywhere. But I got to be honest, I'm still not 100% sure I get what it actually means.
Right.
That, like, AI suddenly has its own, like, agenda.
I mean, not quite an agenda, but it's definitely moving beyond just reacting to our commands, Agentic AI can take actions, make decisions, even adapt its approach based on a situation, and all to achieve a goal that we set. So think of it like an AI that doesn't just write an email for you, but actually sends it at the optimal time, tracks responses, and even nudges people who haven't replied.
Okay, so it's not just about generating content anymore.
Right.
It's about the AI, like, stepping into a more active role.
Exactly.
And are there, like, tools out there that can already do this kind of stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Autogen, Crew AI, LangChain, LlamaStack, just to name a few. These are platforms that let developers build and manage these, like, much more complex AI workflows.
So those are the names to know if you want to sound smart at a tech conference next year.
Definitely. But more importantly, I think keep an eye on how these tools are actually being used, because we're not just talking about, like, automating simple tasks anymore. Companies like Microsoft and OpenAI are using what they call agentic loops to tackle really complex problems.
Agentic loops. Okay, that sounds intriguing, but also kind of intimidating. Break that down for me.
Okay, so instead of giving an AI a single prompt and getting a single output, you're engaging in like a back and forth conversation. So the AI takes an action, gets feedback, and then refines its next step based on that feedback. It's much more collaborative.
Interesting. So this could be a game changer for how we work with AI. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's definitely good news for anyone who wants to use AI. The price war.
Ah, yes, the AI price war of 2024.
Crazy, right?
It was pretty dramatic. Remember how just a year or two ago, accessing top-tier AI models was incredibly expensive?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically only big corporations and research labs that could really afford it.
Exactly. But now it seems like those barriers are coming down.
Yeah, big time.
OpenAI, for instance, slashed the pricing of their models by almost 90%. And they're not alone. Google, Amazon, even companies in China, they're all trying to undercut each other.
So what's driving this sudden plunge in prices?
Well, competition is definitely a factor.
Sure.
But there's more to it than that. The rise of open source models like Llama 3 has been a real disruptor.
Okay, time for a quick ELI 5 moment.
Sure.
What exactly does open source mean when we're talking about AI, and why does it matter for pricing?
Good point. So open source means that the underlying code of the AI model is publicly available. So anyone can access it, modify it, and use it without paying those hefty licensing fees. So when you have powerful open source models like Llama 3 entering the scene, the big companies suddenly have a lot more competition.
Got it. So this benefits not just the big players, but also individuals and smaller companies who now have access to cutting-edge AI tools that were previously out of reach.
Precisely. And this is potentially huge for sparking innovation across all sorts of industries. I mean, we could see a whole wave of new AI-powered startups and applications emerge because that barrier to entry has suddenly become much lower.
This is exciting stuff. Okay, next up, AI video generation. I got to admit, I'm kind of blown away by how quickly this tech has advanced.
It's been quite a year for generative video. We went from those like blurry, somewhat unsettling clips to models capable of creating much more realistic and sophisticated videos.
Yeah, I mean, OpenAI, Sora, Runway Gen 3, Adobe Firefly, these names are everywhere I look. But are they really living up to the hype?
Well, it's still early days, but the progress has been remarkable. Sora, in particular, caused quite a stir with its ability to generate relatively long, coherent video sequences from just text prompts. It even made filmmaker Tyler Perry rethink his studio expansion plans.
Wow, that's saying something if Hollywood is taking notice.
Right.
Are there any real-world examples of how these tools are being used right now?
Absolutely. The graphics team on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, for example, is already using Runway Gen 3 to streamline some of their visual effects work. It's saving them hours of time and effort.
So AI video generation is not just a futuristic fantasy anymore. it's already having a real impact.
Yeah.
This makes me think maybe I should try and create my own AI-generated masterpiece.
Yeah.
But, amidst all this talk of bigger and better AI models, there's also this trend towards smaller, more efficient ones.
Hmm.
What's that all about?
Right. For a while, it seemed like the only way to improve AI was to build these increasingly massive models. But now companies are realizing that bigger isn't always better.
So what's the advantage of these smaller models? Are they just cheaper to run?
Well, cost is definitely a factor,
Yeah.
but it goes beyond that. Smaller models are also faster and can be deployed on devices with limited computing power, like smartphones or even embedded systems.
Ah, so this is about bringing AI to the masses, right?
Exactly.
Instead of relying on giant data centers, we could have AI running right on personal devices.
Exactly. We're talking about potentially having personalized AI assistants on our phones that are actually smart, adaptive learning tools that can tailor to each student's needs, and maybe even smarter home appliances that anticipate our needs without needing to connect to the cloud.
This is where it gets really interesting, right?
Right.
Because it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how accessible and integrated AI becomes in our everyday lives. So, which of these smaller models should we be paying attention to? I remember seeing some names mentioned in the batch.
Yeah, Microsoft's Phi 3 is one to watch. Google has their Gemma 2 model. And Hugging Face, a company known for their focus on open source AI, has been making waves with its small LM project.
Okay, so lots of activity in the smaller model space. I'm curious, do you think this shift towards smaller models is related at all to this acquisition shakeup Andrew Ng talks about?
That's a great question. It's certainly possible. Maybe these strategic partnerships are being driven in part by the need to acquire expertise in building these more efficient, adaptable AI systems. But before we jump into acquisitions, let's take a closer look at how this new approach is actually playing out.
All right, let's deep dive into that world next.
Welcome back to our deep dive into AI's biggest moments of 2024.
We're still exploring the batch, Andrew Ng's um, insightful take on the year's trends.
And before we wandered off into the world of smaller AI models, you asked a great question.
I did.
You did, about whether there's a connection between the rise of these efficient models and the shift in how big tech is acquiring talent.
Oh, yeah, the acqui-hiring shakeup. Sounds pretty dramatic. So what is the deal with these new partnerships?
Well, instead of outright buying startups, companies like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google are making these strategic deals to get access to specific tech and talent, but without absorbing the whole company.
Okay, so it's less about like swallowing up a competitor and more
Yeah.
about cherry picking the best parts.
Exactly. But why the change in strategy?
Well, for one thing, traditional acquisitions can be slow, messy, and expensive. But there's another big factor at play here: antitrust scrutiny. Governments are getting a lot more wary of big tech gobbling up smaller players and becoming even more dominant.
So these partnerships are a way to stay ahead in the AI game without, triggering those antitrust alarm bells.
Exactly. It's a delicate dance. They need to be aggressive in acquiring cutting-edge AI, but they also want to avoid drawing unwanted attention from regulators.
Makes sense. But I'm still curious about the specifics. I know Andrew Ng highlighted a few examples in the batch. What can you tell me about the Microsoft and Inflection AI deal? That one seemed to make a lot of headlines.
That was a big one. Microsoft invested a whopping $650 million in Inflection AI.
Wow, that's a lot of money. What did they get for that hefty price tag?
Access to Inflection AI's impressive language models, which are designed to power really sophisticated conversational AI. Think next-level chatbots and virtual assistants. Okay, now we're talking. So Microsoft is basically beefing up its conversational AI capabilities. Are they integrating this tech into their existing products?
Absolutely. They're reportedly weaving these models into their Bing search engine and their Copilot suite of AI tools.
So this is a strategic move to compete with the likes of Google Assistant and ChatGPT.
You got it. And on the flip side, Inflection AI gets a massive cash injection and access to Microsoft's vast resources. Win-win.
I see what you mean about cherry picking. But what about Amazon? They're not exactly known for being shy about acquisitions. How are they playing in this new landscape?
Amazon's taking a similar approach, focusing on targeted partnerships that give them access to specific AI capabilities. One example is their deal with Adept AI.
Adept AI, right. I've heard that name. What do they specialize in?
They build AI agents that can automate a wide range of tasks and workflows. Think data entry, customer support, even software development.
Wow, so these are agents that can actually do things, not just generate text or images.
Precisely. And Amazon is reportedly using Adept's technology to streamline their own internal operations and to develop new offerings for their cloud computing platform, Amazon Web Services.
So they're basically using AI to become even more of an efficiency machine.
Exactly. It's all about leveraging AI to get a competitive edge, and these partnerships are a key part of that strategy. But Adept AI isn't the only robotics company Amazon has been cozying up to. They've also partnered with Covariant.
Covariant, the robotics company. What's the angle there?
Covariant specializes in AI-powered robots for warehouses and logistics, which, as you can imagine, is right up Amazon's alley.
Makes perfect sense, considering like Amazon's massive fulfillment network. So we're talking robots that can pick and pack orders, move inventory around, that sort of thing.
Exactly. And this is where we see the potential for AI to transform these traditional industries. By automating these physical tasks, Amazon can boost efficiency and potentially reduce costs significantly.
Okay, so Microsoft and Amazon are making big moves. What about Google? Are they just sitting this one out?
Not at all. Google's also been active, though their approach has been a bit more subtle. They haven't made quite as many splashy deals, but they're still strategically acquiring talent and tech.
So what's Google's flavor of acqui-hiring?
One interesting example is their partnership with Character.ai, a startup that focuses on creating these personalized AI chatbots.
Personalized chatbots. What makes them different from, say, ChatGPT?
Well, these chatbots are designed to mimic the personalities of real people or even fictional characters. Imagine having a conversation with a chatbot that talks and acts like your favorite celebrity or book character.
That's pretty wild. But what's Google's interest in this?
They're likely looking to enhance their existing chatbot offerings, like, Google Assistant,
Hmm.
make them more engaging, more personalized.
So instead of just getting information from my Google Assistant, I could have like a more natural, maybe even entertaining conversation with it.
Exactly. And while this tech is still in its early stages, it has the potential to change how we interact with AI, making it feel more, I don't know, human and relatable.
Fascinating. So it seems like even with these strategic partnerships, there's still a lot of emphasis on making AI more human-centric.
Hmm.
But beyond these specific deals, what else did Andrew Ng highlight about this whole acquisition shakeup?
Well, he points out that this shift towards partnerships isn't just about avoiding antitrust issues. It's also about speed. The AI field is moving so fast that these big companies need to be nimble and adaptable.
So these partnerships allow them to quickly tap into the latest breakthroughs without getting bogged down in like lengthy acquisition processes.
Precisely. It's a way to stay ahead of the curve in a landscape that's constantly evolving. And it's not just about acquiring technology, it's also about bringing in that top talent.
Right, because building cutting-edge AI requires brilliant minds, and those minds are often found in smaller, more agile startups.
Exactly. So these partnerships are a way to get access to both the tech and the talent that's driving AI innovation.
Okay, so that's the acquisition shakeup. Strategic, fast-paced, and driven by the need to like stay ahead in this really competitive and rapidly evolving field. But let's not forget about like the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Open source AI. That's been a hot
Yeah.
topic all year, and it seems like Andrew Ng has some strong opinions about it.
He definitely sees it as a major force shaping the AI landscape. But before we dive into his perspective, let's make sure we're all on the same page here.
Yeah.
What exactly is open source AI and why is it causing such a stir?
Welcome back to the deep dive
Where we're wrapping up our exploration of AI's biggest moments of 2024.
with our trusty guide, Andrew Ng's year-end edition of The Batch.
And right before the break, you brought up open source AI, a topic that's been kind of swirling around all year.
Yeah, it feels like this whole debate between open and closed AI models has been heating up.
For sure.
But honestly, I'm still not totally clear on all the nuances. So,
Hmm.
what exactly is open source AI and why is it such a big deal?
Right. It's been a hot topic. In the simplest terms, open source AI means that the underlying code of the AI model is publicly available. So anyone can access it, study it, modify it, even use it to build their own applications, and they don't have to pay licensing fees.
So it's kind of like the Wikipedia of AI.
Yeah.
A collaborative effort where everyone can, contribute and benefit.
That's a great analogy, and that's exactly what makes it so revolutionary. Instead of just a handful of big companies controlling access to these powerful AI tools, anyone with the skills and interest can get involved.
Okay, I'm starting to see why people are so excited about open source. But what about the companies that have, invested tons of money in developing these models? Doesn't this totally cut into their profits?
It definitely disrupts the traditional business model. Companies like OpenAI, for example, have historically taken a more closed approach, keeping their models proprietary. And they argue that this allows them to control the quality, the safety, and the responsible use of their tech.
Yeah, that makes sense. If just anyone can tinker with a powerful AI model, there's always that risk that it could be used for harmful purposes.
That's a valid concern, and one that Andrew Nang acknowledges in the batch. But he also points out that open source has some major advantages. Like, for one, it fosters rapid innovation. When you have, like, thousands of developers around the world contributing to a project, progress can happen much faster than within the confines of a single company.
So it's like a global brain trust all working together to advance AI.
Exactly. And this can lead to breakthroughs that might not have happened otherwise. Look at the success of Llama 3, the open source model we talked about earlier. It's made incredible strides in a really short amount of time thanks to the contributions of a global community of developers.
So it's kind of a trade-off.
Yeah,
Open source AI could lead to faster progress, wider accessibility, but there's also that potential for misuse.
right.
Where does Andrew Ng actually land on this whole debate?
He doesn't explicitly endorse either side, actually. He acknowledges the valid points on both sides of the argument, emphasizing that there are real risks and real benefits to consider.
So it's not like a black and white issue?
Not at all.
Okay.
But here's what I found interesting. Andrew Ng seems optimistic that we can find a balance, a way to harness the power of open source while also mitigating the risks. He suggests focusing on things like creating robust ethical frameworks, developing tools to detect and prevent misuse, and fostering a culture of responsibility within the AI community.
That sounds like a tall order, but I guess also like a really worthy goal.
Absolutely. And I think it's a goal that resonates with a lot of people in the AI field. There's this growing recognition that AI is just too important to be left solely in the hands of a few large corporations.
So open source AI is definitely something to keep watching closely. It's a complex issue with the potential to like totally reshape the entire AI landscape. And it kind of highlights this bigger theme that Andrew Ng keeps coming back to in the batch.
Yeah.
That need to democratize AI, to make it accessible and beneficial to everyone, not just a select few. I love that idea. But it also makes me wonder, like, if AI is becoming so powerful and so pervasive, how can just the average person keep up? I mean, I'm starting to feel like I need a PhD just to understand what's going on.
I think that's a common feeling, but don't be intimidated. Andrew Nang's entire mission is to make AI accessible to everyone, no matter their background.
Okay.
And he offers some really practical advice in the batch.
I'm all ears. What does he suggest?
First and foremost, he encourages people to embrace this mindset of lifelong learning.
Okay.
The AI field is constantly evolving, so it's crucial to stay curious and keep learning new
Right.
things.
Even if I don't have like a technical background, I can still dive in and learn about AI.
Absolutely. There are tons of resources available online, everything from introductory courses to, more in-depth articles and videos. Andrew Ng's own organization, deeplearning.ai, is a great place to start. They have courses on a wide range of AI topics, and many of them are specifically designed for beginners.
That's good to know. But learning about AI is one thing, actually using it is another. It can still feel pretty daunting to actually like experiment with these tools.
Right, and that's where Andrew Ng's second piece of advice comes in. Don't just passively consume information, get hands-on. There are so many free and user-friendly AI platforms available online.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, you could try generating text with ChatGPT, create some AI art using a platform like DALL-E or Midjourney, or even dabble in a bit of AI coding with tools like Google Colab.
So it's all about jumping in and playing around, see what these tools can actually do.
Exactly. The more you experiment, the more comfortable you'll become with AI. And who knows, you might even discover a passion for it.
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in all the hype and maybe even the fear surrounding AI. But at the end of the day, it really is just a set of tools that can be used for good or for bad.
Right.
And the more people who understand how these tools work, the better equipped we'll be to actually shape the future of AI in a positive direction.
I couldn't agree more. Andrew Ng also emphasizes the importance of community. He encourages people to connect with others who are interested in AI, share knowledge, ask questions, support each other.
So find your tribe of AI enthusiasts.
Exactly. Join online communities, attend webinars, find a mentor. There's a whole world of people out there who are eager to share their passion for AI.
This has been an incredible journey through the world of AI, and I feel like I've learned so much from Andrew Ning's insights in the batch.
Me too. He's given us a lot to think about.
As we head into 2025, it's pretty clear that AI will continue to be a major force shaping our world. But as Andrew reminds us, it's not something to be feared or ignored. It's an opportunity to learn, to experiment, to collaborate, and to ultimately shape the future of this technology in a way that benefits, all of humanity.
Well said. And remember, the AI journey is just beginning. Stay curious, stay engaged, and who knows what amazing things we'll discover together in the years to come.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.